Well, I hope you're looking forward to going back to school, because I know I'm not. Well, for today's video, I'm going to be comparing Bad Boys Ride or Die to Hobb&Shaw from Fast and Furious and a forgotten Netflix series called The Teenage Bounty Hunters. Oh, and I'm also going to throw my own comic book character called the BullySisters into the conversation to tell an example of how the partner story is done better. Without wasting any more time, let's see which of these duos are superior. Okay, the story for Hobb&Shaw is that an AI robot named Dexon was going after the virus, which Shaw's sister has, and Hobb&Shaw has to protect her at all costs. Well, the story for the Teenage Bounty Hunters is about the two twin sisters, Sterling and Blair, having sex with their boyfriends. They encounter a criminal and meet a bounty hunter named Bowser. Well, I ain't talking about Bowser from Super Mario. Bowser is his name in the show. Well, anyway, after hunting down one criminal, Sterling and Blair realized that they needed the money to fix their dad's car, so they became Bowser's bounty hunters. Well, the story for Bad Boys Ride or Die, I kind of don't understand it. I watched this movie during Father's Day, and I have not seen the previous films, so I guess that is an excuse not to follow the story. And while I was watching Bad Boys with my family, I saw the parents take their kids to go see this movie. Like, bro, seriously, why parents these days send their kids to go see an R-rated movie? Like, they should know better. And I can even hear the baby crying whenever a fight scene were going on, and I bet my family can hear them too. And the story of the BullySisters is about the twin sisters, Mary and Lola Ken. Well, they are related to one of my main villains in my comic book, and they got adopted by the Italian family when they're 12. Well, later on, Mary and Lola became troublemakers and bully people if they need to, but then, long story short, they decided to also help people and save the world, so the BullySisters has become anti-heroes. I think I'm going to give this round for the superior story to the Teenage Bounty Hunters, and I'm going to tell you why. When Blair and Sterling became bounty hunters, I just quickly fall in love with the characters in the plot through and through in every episodes I watch. Although, my only criticism with the story is the fact that why Blair and Sterling didn't use their own money to fix their dad's car. Like, their family are wealthy and rich, and if they're rich, they could have used their own rich money to solve the problem. But I'm just going to go past that for now. Well, for how unique and basic storytelling I had with the BullySisters, it also felt a bit uncompleted, because I am still making these comic books right now, and I didn't fully develop these characters just yet. The story in Hobb&Shaw was cool, but I also got bored in the second act of the movie until it gets better for me in the climax. And as for Bad Boys Ride or Die, like I said, don't understand it. And that is funny because there's a potential strong storyline they have abandoned, like one of them getting a heart attack and brought back to life, and they didn't brought it up again until the crocodile attack. And that is probably because they need to make room for development for the other main characters, which we're going to talk about for a minute. So yeah, again, the duo characters with the superior story is the Teenage Bounty Hunters on first place, and on second place, it is the BullySisters, and then Hobb&Shaw, and in last place, BadBoys Ride or Die. Okay, the characters in each franchise are yet passable, especially the characters in the Teenage Bounty Hunters that are a little bit more interesting when you come down to it. I love the relationship between Blair and Sterling. Like, their sisterly relationship was the highlight of this series, and I even liked them as a comedy duo. Like, the comedy in the Teenage Bounty Hunter has caught me off guard every time, and on top of that, they fight like real siblings do, and I found it pretty relatable, because I have got into fights with my brother before. As for the relationship between Mary and Lola, well, it's pretty much the same of how siblings' relationship goes, well, except that they are full-on best friends until the end. And although the comedy in the BullySisters are not yet confirmed, but they're developed to be funny. As for Luke Hobbs and Decker-Shaw relationship, well, it is pretty rocky. Well, if you have seen Fast and Furious 7, where they have fight before, you would understand why they have a love and hate relationship, and they make a good comedy duo too. I mean, Luke even hooked up with Decker's sister, which I thought it was pretty funny, and then I just find myself to be bored when they just repeat the same joke in the rest of the movie. But overall, Hobb&Shaw makes a pretty good team. As for the relationship between Mike and Marcus, well, like I said, haven't seen the previous movies, but I can tell that they are really close, and that is a period T. And the terms of comedy, well, the comedy in this movie, I thought it was just fine. I laughed at a few jokes, and there's some of them that felt really forced. There's a scene where Mike was having a serious character development moment, but yet this movie ruined it with a joke.
It's okay. Not your fault. Cut that bitch-ass shit out, Mike!
Yeah, you see what I mean? Forcing a joke into a serious moment, that just doesn't make sense to me. And therefore, it didn't do good at all with the story with the characters, and I really don't like that. However, the duo with a yet superior relationship with each other and outstanding comedy is the Teenage Bounty Hunters, Hobb&Shaw, the BullySisters, and in dead last place, BadBoys Ride or Die. There's a lot of villains in the Teenage Bounty Hunters in each episode, but most of them are either used as a plot device to move forward for the plot, or been simply wasted for some plotline reasons. The villain John Steven was taken out pretty quickly in the first episode, but then he got out of jail and wanted revenge. Well, unfortunately, we don't get to see John Steven ever get revenge, because Netflix just decided to cancel the second season of the Teenage Bounty Hunters, and the worst part is that we just found out that Blair and Sterling are not actually sisters, they're actually cousins. Oh man, watching this again makes me feel bad for them. Well, the BullySisters also had a lot of villains, but they're mostly a part of one of my main characters that is the face of my comics. So just to keep in mind, they are anti-heroes, characters that can do whatever they want. And to think about the villains in the Teenage Bounty Hunters, well, I realized these villains that they hunted down gets taken pretty easily. Like, they were able to catch their bounty with no struggles or anything. And Sterling and April rivalry had potential, but yet, for some reason, they have to make them a gay couple, which I am not a fan of. Well, Bad Boys Ride or Die had villains that are from the previous movies, but how the pacing goes in this movie, I didn't find myself to care about his redemption arc either, and yet I found the main villains to be generic and just plain bad. And before any of you say something, Will Smith just accidentally shoots his own partner to kill the villain was not a cool way for a cool moment to finish the fight. It was just plain cliche, like something like Mall Cop as a example. Well, the main villain in Hobb&Shaw is Dexter, and this guy is a freaking cyborg, and that is so crazy that the Fast and Furious universe has AI. I like his fight scenes with Hobb&Shaw, and I even like how he gets defeated by them. For what I see, it was just epic. Well, his motivation is not really the best, or I don't remember, but it was still awesome. Well, I would easily give this round to the villains from my own comic book universe, and you guys will know why once I just republish the comics. And for second place, as the second superior villain, that has to go to Hobb&Shaw. Well, for third place, well, I guess I'll give it to the Teenage Bounty Hunters. And finally, Bad Boys. Okay, we don't need to talk about the action in the BullySisters because my comic book is not public yet. Or better yet, we have to wait until I make another movie to talk about the action. Well, the action in Hobb&Shaw was pretty great, excellent. Although, my only problem that I had with the action is that the cars doesn't move that fast. Well, Fast and Furious movies had fast cars, but the cars in Hobb&Shaw doesn't move that fast, and that is a shame. Well, the action in the Teenage Bounty Hunters, well, it was a pretty fun ride. Like, it was unique. Well, it doesn't have any fight scenes, which I wish they did, but it was good. But then, the action in Bad Boy had put the Teenage Bounty Hunters action to shame. Okay, well, at first, the action was just simple in the beginning of the movie, but then it just got better and better to the beginning, the middle, and now to the end. Like, they just gave the Teenage Bounty Hunters action a run for their money. Although the violence was not the best, like, it was not that bloody when you come down to it. I have seen much more bloodier R-rated movies in Hellboy, and that is no different. Although the action in Bad Boys is good, but they needed to add more blood, and wish they have more tension. Well, I may not seen the previous movies, but I wanted to care about the characters, despite my low expectations. But I didn't. Well, instead, I end up finishing watching a generic movie that I just watched. Okay, the duos with the better action is Hobb&Shaw, without a doubt, but following closely, Bad Boys has the superior action scene, and lastly, the Teenage Bounty Hunters. Well, if I have seen the previous Bad Boys movies, then I would probably enjoy Ride or Die even more, but since not, I come out being unimpressed in a entertaining standpoint. Well, the Teenage Bounty Hunters has an overall great story where you get to follow without being bored and having a great laugh at the character's personality, comedy stuff. But although this show did end it with a cliffhanger where it is not resolved thanks to Netflix canceling the show, and that is the Teenage Bounty Hunter's biggest flaws, not finishing what it started, and because it is only a half of the show ending with a to be continued, the story of the show just felt like a complete waste because of that. Well, the BullySisters, well, gods know how long I'm going to have these characters. For how many comics I have made already, they did have continuations. Well, Hobb&Shaw was precisely worth to watch, and I can't wait to see if they're going to make a sequel out of it. Anyway, let's just get to the scores. Okay, even though these are my own comic book characters I made, I would give it an 8 out of 10 for the BullySisters because of the fact that I didn't use them enough. The only time that I did use them a lot is the super fiction movies in my old channel. Okay, the Fast and Furious spin-off, Hobb&Shaw, gets an 8 out of 10, following closely to the BullySisters. As for the Teenage Bounty Hunters, well, I gave it a 9 out of 10 at first, but because of the unresolved cliffhanger they had, and the show being cancelled after one season, well, I believe that the Teenage Bounty Hunters deserve a high 7 out of 10. Okay, now as for BadBoys, it gets a 5.5 out of 10. Okay, you can let me know in the comments which duo team do you prefer and why. Well, even though I said the BullySisters are the superior duo, I do prefer the Teenage Bounty Hunters. Well, since I am done making this video, I might have an idea. Maybe I should own the Teenage Bounty Hunters and have them be a part of Star Comics. I would make them the same characters, but I would probably give them a totally different origin. Well, who knows? I might make a fortune of these characters fighting along with the Super Fiction and the Villain League whatever. Yeah, I will have to think about that. Anyway, make sure to like and subscribe. I'm Isaiah Belfort, and I will see you guys next time.